Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I have what I would think is a bit of a hidden gem, or as the theme is rather aquatic, maybe a hidden pearl. This one is from AliExpress, but the brand does have their own shop as well online. I don't know which came first, but I purchased it myself on AliExpress because the prices are way better than advertised on their website. One of the really interesting things about this watch for me is that it is a bronze watch, and I've never had a bronze watch before. Certainly most of the affordable bronze watches that I'd seen in the past had never really taken my fancy, but this one is very different. I think it's a cracking looking watch. But does the rest of the watch stack up with its great looks? Well, let's get into it. So as always, starting with a few specifications, it's 42mm in diameter, it's got a 22mm lug width, it's 13.9mm thick, 49.5mm lug to lug. The case material is CU-SN8 bronze. I don't know a lot about that, but from what I can read online, it is an alloy composed of 8% tin, and apparently it has good wear and corrosion resistance. Now if you hadn't guessed by looking at that bezel insert, it is a GMT, and inside this one is the Seiko NH34. Now it's not a true GMT with the independently adjustable hour hand, but it is my preferred choice as I only ever keep it set on one time zone, so I prefer to have the quick set date. This watch is 300 meters of water resistant. That domed crystal is of course sapphire, and strangely with this one it's limited to 88 pieces, and I've seen it for sale for a while and it's still for sale, so I'm guessing that not as many people think it's as great looking as I do. You'll have to let me know on that one in the comments. So looking a little bit closer at the dial, it's a kind of dark fume red, goes out to black around the edges of the dial. The hands and the applied indices all match the bronze tone of the case. You'll see the date window there at the 4:30 is like a kind of porthole, and the GMT and the seconds hands have a splash of red on them to go with that theme of the red, black and bronze. Minimal text on the dial, and the water rating there is in red, so it blends in pretty well. So really you can just see the Aquatico name and Seastar GMT at a quick glance. Bezel insert is ceramic, and it's a 24-hour bezel on this one, although it is not bidirectional, it's only unidirectional, which is a bit of a disappointment. The case is relatively simple here. It's finished to a good standard, there's no sharp edges, everything feels rather pleasant in the hand. Typically I prefer some chamfers and detailing between the sides of the case. I think that tends to elevate a watch, although with this one, because it's bronze and because everything's going to patina, I'm not sure if I feel quite as strong for the need on those sort of polished chamfers. The case is fully brushed on this, giving it quite a utilitarian look. It's a nice big crown, which I quite like, and I haven't had any issues with it digging in. The case back protrudes further than the crown, so despite the size, for me it's been pretty comfortable, although I'm one of those freaks that wears my watches on the right arm as a dedicated lefty. Whilst we're talking about the crown, the threading is very smooth, operation is very easy, and it does have the Aquatico logo on the side there, so that's a nice touch. Case back is stainless steel to avoid skin irritation. There's nothing to write home about here, but two curious points. There's a secondary serial number, I'm not sure if they're making 500 casebacks only, and also some grooves which look like machining marks in the center. Just coming back to that unidirectional bezel, it does feel quite nice. It's not the best bezel action I felt, but it's pretty good. And I would say for the money, you won't be disappointed. And how much did this watch cost? Well, I can't remember what it sold at on the Aquatico website. I'll dig it up and post it. But for me on AliExpress, I paid 323 Canadian, and I'll convert that into US. It's certainly on the more affordable end of bronze GMT dive watches. One of my favorite things about this watch is it is a single dome, not a double dome on the sapphire, and that means you get these really nice distortions around the edges when you look at the watch from an angle. Yes, on the one hand it does reduce your viewing angles, but you know what, it gives a bit of character and a bit of charm. I find myself more often than not putting the watch at extreme angles just to enjoy that dome on the crystal. Okay, something I'm going to address. Leather on a dive watch. Now I know a lot of you hate the idea of a leather strap on a dive watch, and especially one that is 300 meters, because you would say, what's the point? To be honest with you, this watch, as you may have noticed, comes with the rubber strap. So if you want that authentic underwater experience, then of course go for that. As much as I appreciate the capability of this one underwater, it's not going to get anything more than a splash in the kitchen sink while it's with me. So I think the leather strap suits the watch better. I think it looks more interesting. I love the overall warmth that you get from this brown leather with the bronze and the red. And the other thing is, I don't very often find good leather straps, especially not at this price. And this leather strap is excellent. It's super soft, super malleable. It was comfortable out of the box. It didn't really have any break-in period whatsoever. It's quite chunky, so in that sense it does suit the watch because it is a larger diameter and it's got that 22mm lug width. But yeah, it's just really, really comfortable and it looks fantastic. So I really don't want to take it off the leather, but please remember, you do get a choice and they do give you rubber in the box as well. So how does this watch actually wear on my wrist? Well, despite the fact that it's a 42, so it is on the larger side for my 17.5cm wrist, it fits really well and I've had no issues with comfort over a long day. So how does it run on the time grapher? Let's have a look. Well, it averages out pretty well. -7, -8, -9 in the dial up position, but crown down 0 seconds per day, so I'm finding I'm losing 3 or 4 seconds a day on average, and that's really good. I certainly won't make any adjustments here. Just a quick interruption to say, if you're enjoying today's video, please don't hesitate to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and as always, to all my returning viewers, I really appreciate your support. As a small channel, it doesn't go unappreciated, so thank you. Anyway, back to the Aquatico, and as you can probably tell, I think this is a really good looking watch, and to be honest, the value of it for a 300 meter capable dive watch with a GMT function and a bronze case, I think it is there at the AliExpress pricing at least. And this leather strap, oh, lovely. But it's not all lovely. And starting with the loom, now the hands are really good and they do keep up, I would say, with the Proxima, including long term overnight. But what doesn't keep up, as you'll see if we fast forward just a few minutes here, is the indices and the bezel insert. And I find that after a couple of hours the indices are barely visible, and for a dive watch, that's a bit disappointing. Obviously, I've mentioned the bezel on this is not bidirectional. Clearly they've just taken a dive watch and thrown in a GMT movement, and then they're using the dive watch case. I think considering other watches that are on the market today at this kind of price point with GMT functionality, it's not unreasonable to request a bidirectional bezel. Something that I pointed out earlier was the date window, this sort of porthole that you can see. Now, when you have single digits, the date displays absolutely fine and it works pretty well. As soon as you go into double digits, it becomes quite difficult. Not only is there a slight shadow at certain angles, although I understand they're trying to find design continuity with this kind of porthole on an aquatic watch, it just doesn't work in reality. It should either be bigger, or to be honest, I'd be happy with just a rectangular date window at the 6 o'clock and keep the symmetry. And the final point, very minor, but I do think that case back does show some small machining marks there. So to conclude with this bronze Aquatico diving GMT watch, I will maintain my point from the start, which is this is a great looking watch. And it's so nice for me to see an affordable bronze watch that I actually want to wear. Despite the flaws, at the moment I still want to grab this watch and wear it quite a lot. And I think for me there is also the added excitement of seeing the patina develop because, like I said, it's my first experience again with a bronze watch, so I haven't been through that process, and maybe once it's patinaed, at that point maybe I'll get bored, who knows, but for now I'm really enjoying it. I'm really happy I found this watch, and I'm genuinely surprised that more people haven't purchased one of these. So with that in mind, do let me know in the comments what you think about this watch, what you think about the brand Aquatico. I haven't heard a lot about them. I don't know anybody else that owns one, so if you've had experiences, it would be nice to know as well what your thoughts and feelings were towards that. And finally, it's always nice to know if you have any alternative recommendations or watches that you think are similar in design and specification, but perhaps from a different brand. Anyway, with all that said and done, thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far. I hope you found the Aquatico as interesting as I did, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.